What's up, all my soldiers? Welcome to CGT Reacts. But I've been through a lot of shit to get to this moment right here today. I haven't, I haven't been, killed or nothing, but a nigga done been through a whole bunch of lifetimes just to get to this very moment and tell you that this is fucking CGT Reacts. And today we're reacting to who? Okay, let's do this right here. We reacted to David Cross. He's talking shit about why America sucks and shit. You feel me? We all got many different theories and shit, but this is something from the Gravel Institute. Somebody sent it to me on Instagram, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna share this with everybody. I don't think I've seen this all the way through. I only seen a couple seconds of it, so fuck it. This is like actual good live reaction. Directing this bitch, just so everybody know, Mercury is direct.
America is the greatest country on earth, the strongest, the richest, the most powerful country on earth. As an American, I'm sure you've heard that roughly 135 times a year. 235 if you go to public school. 335 if you go to a Christian academy. We're told that Americans have the best lives of any people in the world. That we have low taxes, small government, and the highest living standards on earth. And, most inaccurately, that we're the freest. Well, it is partly true. America is the richest country, not just in the world, but in the history of the world. It's really hard to comprehend just how rich we are. We have 18 million people who are millionaires. American households own about $100 trillion in wealth, an almost unthinkable amount of money. Okay, so America is the richest country ever. But there's a curious paradox. Most Americans actually have a much worse standard of living than people who live in poorer countries like Germany or Finland or Britain, but...
See, I was just thinking that shit too. See, that's that shit with that money shit, because it's like, everybody don't realize that money and assets and all that, money and assets are two different things. You get what I'm saying? Like, money is just something that you can get and you're gonna use that shit. You feel me? It's like a non-stop flowing of energy, especially if the currency that you're using is intended to be that way. But with that being said, you got such things as assets, which can actually be things that you can live off of and that have value beyond just like temporarily fulfilling a need of somebody. You feel me? So when they say we are the richest country ever in the world and shit like that, and we're going by the metrics of the people who are saying that shit. That doesn't count, bro. That's like me saying I'm the fastest nigga in the fucking world, bro. And I be hyping myself up, nigga, but guess what?
How can that be? That shouldn't make any sense. Well, here's the shitty deal. Americans get significantly worse services because our tax dollars don't fund them. So, of course, our services are worse. And thus we enjoy less happy lives than people who live in the aforementioned countries. Not that difficult a concept to conceive, really. You get what you pay for, said the cartoon.
They were just saying that they giving like Jeff Bezos and fucking 10 to 20 billion dollars or some shit like that to go to outer space. Like the government, I don't believe in all the, I think it's the Matrix, right? But you can't tell me that they taking your quote unquote tax dollars, nigga, and giving it to Jeff Bezos, who's the richest nigga ever on the planet, technically going by the standards of the people who saying they making the money and shit. You going by these nigga standards and it's the richest nigga ever, and you gave this nigga another $20 billion. Is it really till he can go to outer space, bro? I feel like that could be symbology for them saying he is going out of space, meaning like he's creating some type of like economy thing. Yeah, that's some bullshit. We don't believe that. We know this is a symbology for this nigga saying that he is going out of here. They're sending this nigga. They're sending this nigga whole value. This nigga whole worth is out of here. We're gonna give you more fucking money so that you can stay the richest nigga in the fucking world by our standards. Because you doing all the shit that we want you to do. And with that being said, yeah, like
dog to the other cartoon dog. And while you might think the reason American tax dollars don't fund as many services is because we pay lower taxes than other countries, that's not even true. When you add lower taxes who live in the Africa, significantly worse services, Germany or Finland or Britain, but how can that be? That shouldn't make any sense. Well, here's the shitty deal. Americans get significantly worse services because our tax dollars don't fund them. So, of course, our services are worse, and thus we enjoy less happy lives than people who live in the aforementioned countries. Not that difficult a concept to conceive, really. You get what you pay for, said the cartoon dog to the other cartoon dog. And while you might think the reason American tax dollars don't fund as many services is because we pay lower taxes than other countries, that's not even true. When you add federal, state, local, and sales taxes and include other costs and services that our taxes don't cover but other countries' taxes do, like our uniquely high health insurance premiums, you'll find that Americans actually give away more of their wages than most of the developed world. For example, in Canada, for a married worker with 2 kids, all of the previously mentioned costs combined, from taxes to health insurance premiums, make up only 11% of the average wage. In the UK, it's just about 26%. Meanwhile, once you tack on the cost of our outlandish health insurance premiums, you're spending a whopping 43% of your paycheck. That's more than France, Finland, Sweden, and Norway.
Google Fi, a phone plan by Google. It's easy to switch to Fi from the comfort of your home. Purchase a new phone or use the phone you have. Then set up your phone plan from home in just minutes. Only pay for the
nigga, you don't need me to say. You don't need me. You don't need to advertise.
In real reality, Americans keep much less of what we own than in other countries. In other countries, their government takes a bit more tax, but then gives that money back to their citizens in the form of health care or job support, or a general safety net for all vulnerable citizens, no matter how dusky they are. So what do Americans get for the money we pay in?
So, okay. So this is the interesting part. I think I know what he's about to say. I think he's about to say the military and protection, and we keep all the terrorists away and all the fucking floods and hurricanes and shit. That's why they got FEMA. That's what they gonna say, but that's some fuck shit. You know, let's be real. At the end of the fucking day, let's see what this nigga gonna say. First of all,
well, sure, we get a crumbling infrastructure, shameful homelessness, and millions of hungry, neglected children, but we also get some.
Right, somebody in the chat. Hold on, my Instagram is Soldier Mars. Okay, dude. Okay, let me write it in there.
The worst services in the developed world. Again, our healthcare. American healthcare is simultaneously the most expensive, the least efficient, and the least effective healthcare system in the developed world. Hey, the devil's trifecta. And in exchange for this extremely expensive, inefficient healthcare system, what do we get? Well, we get some of the worst health outcomes in the developed world. We have fewer hospital beds per capita than people in Turkey or Brunei. Americans have a lower life expectancy than people in Lebanon or Cuba. In the Mississippi Delta and much of Appalachia, life expectancy is lower than in Bangladesh. In fact, in 2017, the United Nations sent a commissioner to West Virginia to document what he saw, and he described, quote, third world conditions of absolute poverty, unquote. We even have a higher infant mortality rate than people in Russia and Serbia. In every single metric, America does worse across the board. So why is healthcare so expensive? Because it's so complicated. You have to look for in-network physicians, schedule.
I didn't know this was a healthcare video though. Like maybe
an established care appointment, beg for coverage from your insurance company that couldn't care less about you, and that's if you're lucky enough to have good insurance. Compare that to Britain and all of those other evil, socialist-like countries where it's simple. Public hospital.
So These countries are considered socialist now. I didn't even know that. I thought they were considered fuckery countries too. Everybody in these countries, they still fighting their government and for bullshit too. Like it's just the fact that they not doing as much damage over there because they already know the fuckery that their people are about. You feel
Hospitals
me?
provide free treatment to people who need it. That's it. I'll repeat that. Public hospitals provide free treatment to people who need it. And here's the best part. Even though Britain offers healthcare for free, their system is actually a lot cheaper to run than ours. Per capita healthcare spending in the U.S. is almost...
God damn it.
Premiums. You're spending a whopping 43% of your paycheck. That's more found dead in her apartment.
On to the next video anyway.
When Americans do manage to get treated, they frequently can't afford it. Simple, life-saving treatments can cost tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and if they don't have really good insurance, they're forced to take on medical debt. Tens of millions of Americans owe medical debt, often into the tens of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, in a country like Britain or Norway, medical debt is almost unheard of. But hey, that's why GoFundMe is such a critical component of American healthcare. 1 in 3 GoFundMe campaigns is now for medical bills. I'll repeat that. 1 in 3 GoFundMe campaigns is now for medical.
GoFundMe though, because it's like I heard people talking about that shit in the conspiracy theory like circle. They were basically saying that
bills.
They were basically saying that GoFundMe is like basically it's like a psyops type shit.
Because such a strong, powerful, rich, and great country that its citizens have to beg strangers on the internet for money so they can get life-saving treatments that are free in the rest of the developed world. But hey, that's just healthcare. Americans get terrible deals wherever you look. Let's take work, for example. Americans work longer hours than people in any other rich country in the world, and that's not because they enjoy sleep deprivation and not seeing their families for days at a time. It's because they don't want to starve, or freeze, or die. See, America has the least generous job support programs, the least generous family benefits, and the least generous unemployment benefits of any wealthy country. It's one of the only countries on Earth that doesn't guarantee paid time off for vacations. It doesn't even help provide paid time off for parents who just had a child. And it's not coincidental that we're also one of the most hostile countries to workers' rights. America has one of the lowest unionization rates in the entire world. Maybe this deprivation, our refusal to give people the means to lead a good, dignified life,
it's because of I call that shit tragic timing for fucking actual stimulus. They wait till a tragedy happens, something like a catastrophe happens out of nowhere, and then they want to make it seem like they're the fucking heroes. So then they come in and give you this fake ass stimulation of the goddamn economy, and then the economy got to be straight. And then after that, you thinking, oh shit, the economy is straight, and then the whole time, this shit is not okay. It's going downhill. All the fucking value of the resources being drained and it's being given to the same people it was being given to before. But the whole time, everybody distracted because not only is there a catastrophe, but there's also some good fresh money in your pocket. So would that cycle keep going over and over and over and over and over, and then people get used to the fucking stimulus, guess what? Even all the skills and shit that they had before, it's another part of Agenda 21. It's another part of them draining the energy and the fucking focus away from our traditional values and our traditional understanding of nature, and trying to put it into a whole new category to where only they can control the outcome of it. You feel me? But let's see what this nigga got to say next.
Life commensurate with how rich our country is can explain a bit of what we've seen in the United States over the last few decades. Fraying communities, rising rates of depression and suicide, huge numbers of deaths from drug overdoses. These so-called deaths of despair, suicide, drug overdoses, alcoholic liver disease, they're one big reason why American life expectancy has actually started to decline over the last few years.
Behind every great video is a winning script.
Behind that winning script,
The hell?
thousands of talented...
Hold on now.
And with such poor conditions, it's not a surprise that poverty is so rampant in the United States. America devotes a smaller percentage of spending on social welfare than any other industrialized economy because, say it with me, socialism is evil. It's evil. Go to Denmark and try telling those happy, healthy families enjoying their paid vacation that their system of government is evil. Guess what? I guarantee they'll know you're an American. But I digress. America also has the highest rate of child poverty of any developed country, and the highest percentage of workers earning significantly less than the national median income. That seems pretty evil to me, especially since such a tiny fraction take as much of your money for themselves and their families as you will let them. All the while, both parties smile and shake hands. Across every single metric, no people accept a worse deal than Americans today. High taxes, high cost of living for next to nothing in return from the government. The most expensive healthcare system for the worst health outcomes. More money taken from workers for the highest rate of child poverty. We are the richest country in the history of the world, but we have fewer miles of high-speed rail than Uzbekistan. We are the greatest country in the world, yet we have the most people in prison of any country, and the highest incarceration rate as well, and a higher rate of police killings than in Angola and Sudan. America is bad at everything because instead of choosing to make life better for people through a public healthcare system or more generous childcare policies or better public transit or programs that allow people to spend more time with their families, American law is designed and crafted to protect a class of parasitical middleman industries. Instead,
See, that's the main point right there. See, everybody gonna say they solutions and shit, but I don't think that it's the solutions are. Hold on, what's all the shit he said?
America is bad at everything because instead of choosing to make life better for people through a public healthcare system or more generous childcare policies or better public transit or programs that allow people to spend more time with their families, America is bad at everything because instead of choosing to make life better for people through a public healthcare system or more generous childcare
public healthcare system. See, that shit right there is all just going back to the fact that the morality of the society is kind of fucked up in the first place. Money is put before health in the first place. So that's why you have the fucking hospital in the first place. If you wouldn't put the money before the fucking health of the people, the hospitals wouldn't even be as significantly in need as they are now. You feel me? But with that being said, one of the solutions to the fact that we have gotten so deep inside of this fucking shithole is, I guess, them creating a new healthcare system where, simple shit like, herbs and shit like that natural remedies can actually be put on Medicaid and Medicare. Cut off all that bullshit right there. Create some new shit where you can actually put natural remedies on there. If you want to take the natural remedies, you can get it. If you want to take the motherfucking the pharmaceutical shit, then go get it. It shouldn't be no fucking problem no matter which fucking way you choose to do that shit. But obviously there's favoritism towards insurance companies and favoritism towards certain pharmaceutical companies that keep people in a cycle of pain, death, and fucking agony, basically. And it's kind of sad because the whole time there's people profiting off of this shit. You feel me? The same way that in the economy, when we have tragedies and shit, there's people who literally already use that to their advantage, and they'll basically they're short certain stocks, they're short certain fucking international dollar values and exchange market, basically. And they'll know how to make money off of this shit. And while everybody is out here saying, "Oh my God, we need stimulus money and the government to come help us," they racking up off of that shit. They making thousands and hundreds of thousands off that shit. And they not asking for the government to do shit for them. And then you'll sit back and wonder, like, oh my God, like, why are all these people so selfish, and why are all these people not trying to help poor people? It's because of the fact that the government is those people who are fucking racking up off this shit. Yeah, your brother and your sister know how to do some shit on foreign exchange. They might be making a couple dollars off that shit. But in reality, this shit has the foreign exchange market is a philosophy and a practice that has been going on for at least like fucking 100 years now. So we gotta understand that shit. And it's not just like some easy shit where you can just like take it over. And anybody who's actually into it can understand that. The same way they do that is the same way they do this with the fucking healthcare system.
Care policies or better public transit or programs that allow people to spend more time with their families.
The public transit shit. Like, I fuck with the public transit shit, but I just feel like we need to get back to more natural ways of living. Like, yeah, like if you're gonna give everybody a car, then give everybody. How about this? We start a government program where everybody who has a fucking job automatically has a car. If you work for another person, the benefit of that should be you getting a car. You get what I'm saying? It shouldn't be no fucking body who working a job worrying about motherfucking getting to work and shit like that. But the problem with that is the streets and shit are already set up in a certain way. All the streets and the highways are set up in a certain way where they make it difficult for people to actually be able to benefit off that shit the way they want to, basically. But we can change all this shit, you feel me? It's all about what we want to do as a collective, and then you come together with a certain group of people who know how to actually manifest shit, and it's easy to make shit happen. You get what I'm saying? Nobody can even stop it either. You don't need the government to come in and say, "Oh yeah, let me help y'all with y'all public transportation." Fuck the government with that shit. We can create our own buses. We can create our own routes. We can create our own trail train systems and shit. We can do all that shit. Our ancestors already did that shit before. We still doing it today. I know, like, there's people who probably watching this shit right now. Your dad or you or your mom or your uncle or some shit. They build houses or they build railroads or they fucking drive a bus or they do some shit like that. These are all just natural things that are actually needed in our society that are undervalued so much that people don't even want to go into these fields. They don't want to go in these fields. You get what I'm saying? They want to go into other fields. They don't want to understand how to run. They don't want to understand civil engineering. They want to understand some other shit. They want to understand how to dance and do simple shit. They want to understand how to do the lean with it, rock with it. They want to learn how to fucking do drugs cool. They want to learn how to hack into computers and play video games and shit like that. So yeah.
American law is designed and crafted to protect a class of parasitical middleman industries. Instead of using a proportionally tiny piece of the massive amount of the wealth in this country to make people's lives healthier and happier, most of our elected leaders are, and have been for generations, engaged in a massive project of looting, gently and lovingly guiding as much money as possible from working people into the pockets of the well-connected and the ultra-rich. Think about that as we start hearing about the inevitable rise in homelessness, poverty, starvation, and sickness that will occur during these coming months and years in the greatest, strongest, richest, most powerful country on the face of the earth. I'm David Cross.
And that's how you work sarcasm and shit like that. Okay. I'm gonna have to chop this video up because I don't feel like starting it back over and starting it back over and keep fucking starting back up and shit. So I'm just gonna go over